Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. You're joining me at week 2 of my Get Set for Autumn Sewing series. In last week's video I shared a Sew the Trends video where I talked through 5 wearable trends we can expect to see coming out on the high street over the upcoming autumn winter months. And I really want to emphasise that these are wearable trends because there are some very out there styles around at the moment. If you've been keeping an eye on what's been coming out on the catwalk, you'll know this. I am very much about wearable trends and making things work for our own wardrobes and our own lifestyles. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I'll pop a link in the video description. But in this week's video, we're going to be talking all about the colours, textures, patterns and fabrics that are going to be coming out for the autumn season. And I'm also going to be sharing a few fabric recommendations as well. So I really hope you'll enjoy today's video and that it will give you some inspiration for your own autumn sewing. As always, everything I mention in today's video that can be linked will be linked in the video description below. And with all that said, let's get started, shall we? So first, let's talk about colour. I absolutely love all of the colours that are coming out for this season. They're definitely my kind of colours. They're really warm and really earthy toned, really deep and really rich, but they're not too harsh either. Let's talk about brown. So brown is everywhere for autumn winter and I absolutely love brown. If you are like me and you can't really wear a harsh black, I think brown is a really great alternative, and apparently there are rumours that brown is going to be the new black for this season. And if you are thinking of replacing a black for a brown, think a really sort of deep, almost bitter, dark chocolate kind of brown. So it's a little bit warmer and a little bit easier to wear than a black would be. But there's not only this sort of really deep, rich brown around, there are loads of other browns around on the high street. So I think camel tones, toffee colours, caramel colours, and browns are being worn layered with each other as well. So think a fully brown outfit just in different kinds of shades of brown, and I absolutely love this. I think this is probably one of my favourite ways that brown is being used for this season. So brown coats and jackets are everywhere. They have been for quite some time, but there's also quite a lot of brown trousers, brown skirts, brown dresses, and even the types of garments maybe you wouldn't necessarily think of to be wearing in brown, like slip dresses and sort of more dainty, delicate outfits too. Brown accessories are also really big as well. So if you're not necessarily keen on wearing brown, maybe it doesn't suit your skin tone, then you can always bring this trend in the form of an accessory. Think a big slouchy bag, as I mentioned in last week's video, maybe a nice chunky brown belt or a classic pair of brown boots. If you've been out to the shops at all since the season started to change, you won't have been able to miss this colour that's really big for the season, and that is burgundy. So not only traditional burgundy colours, but also this really rich sort of Bordeaux red wine kind of colour, which I absolutely love as well. So similar to brown, burgundy is around in all manner of garments. I've seen burgundy coats, burgundy boots, burgundy sweaters, burgundy velvet suits. But what I really love actually is seeing all of the lovely accessories that are coming out in this burgundy colour. There are some beautiful leather and faux leather bags around, accessories like skinny belts, and even burgundy pointy boots. So if you're not quite sure about this colour, it's a little bit different, I guess. It's not necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but if you want to give a nod to this trend, again, I would say do it in the form of maybe an understated accessory such as a belt, and wear it with a colour that you're more familiar with and feel more comfortable with. Another colour that's set to be big again for this season is navy. Navy is always a classic, isn't it? And I don't think it ever really goes anywhere. I absolutely love navy. It's one of my favourite shades and probably one of my most worn colours in my wardrobe, I think. I've actually been seeing navy paired with burgundy and also with brown, which I think looks quite nice together too. So it's really good, I think, that these colours are being mixed and matched together, and I think they look really autumnal. We're also seeing a lot of green everywhere, so mainly this really dark kind of foresty green, and I think this is probably my personal favourite shade. But another shade of green that I'm seeing around everywhere, and perhaps you are too, is this kind of bright pea green. I'm not quite sure about this shade. It's a little bit different for me, but nonetheless it is out there on the high street. Green always has a lovely earthy tone to it, doesn't it? And I think it's a lovely way to bring a bit of colour into the otherwise more neutral browns and navies perhaps. So that brings me to my last colour of the season, which is your kind of neutral. And the neutral for this season, I think, is this lovely creamy off-white colour. For me personally, I really love an off-white rather than a really stark, harsh white. I think it's much more flattering on a lot of skin tones, and I think it's perfect again for this autumn-winter season when perhaps you want something a little bit warmer. And of course, this kind of neutral just pairs so nicely, doesn't it, with the other shades and tones that are around for the season, like brown, navy, and burgundy, and green. So I would say I've seen off-white shades being worn more as layering pieces rather than outerwear and sort of main garment pieces like trousers and skirts and things. So think the Victorian style floaty frilly blouses that I shared in my video last week, perhaps paired with a pullover in the shade of navy or green or burgundy. Layers are really, really big this autumn winter season, and I think it's always really good if you do have a few off-white or neutral layering pieces in your wardrobe that you can just build on as the weeks do get colder. So let's move on then to texture, and what are the main sort of textures that we're seeing coming out on the high street for the autumn winter season? Well, first of all, suede is a really, really big one, and I'm sure if you've been out to the shops or you've had a look online, or if you go on Pinterest or even Instagram, you will have seen that suede is big for this season. If you follow catwalk trends, then you'll know that the Western theme has been really big for this autumn winter time. So think tassels and embroidered suede. But if you fancy a more subtle look, then soft caramel and toffee tones are really in the form of jackets, bags and boots. I personally really love the suede bomber jackets that I'm seeing around on the high street. I am desperate to make a suede bomber jacket. I'd love to give that a go for the autumn time. So we'll see if that happens. There's definitely also a place for a smarter suede jacket in your wardrobe. So I've seen quite a lot of these 3/4 length straight MAC type coats around in suede, and I think they're really nice too. There's not a lot of detail in them, they're really subtle. So the lovely fabric really does do the talking with these. Leather and faux leather is also really big for this season too. Along with this kind of vinyl-y looking, really shiny leather, which I'm not quite sure about. And leather is also around in kind of animal print, so I think maybe snake skin texture, croc texture. I love this shiny leather look jacket, and of course it's right on trend in this burgundy shade that's everywhere. I think this would look really great with a pair of navy wide leg trousers or jeans, and I really love the cropped length of this jacket as well. There are loads of high-waisted wide leg trousers around on the high street for this season too, and I think if you've got a lovely little cropped jacket to wear with them, it's much more flattering sometimes than wearing something quite heavy and long. The straight kind of MAC style coats again are around quite a lot in leather too on the high street, and I've seen quite a few again in the croc and snake print or texture. I'm not quite sure on the croc and animal print leather look myself. I seem to remember back in the day my nan had a similar coat to this, so it's definitely a style that's coming back around again. Leather is also really big in the form of dresses and skirts for this season too. This dress from Suzanne looks amazing, doesn't it? I'm not quite sure if I would wear it, but I have to say I did think it looked stunning on their website. So this is a kind of shiny vinyl-y burgundy coloured leather. And it looks really great with a simple knit underneath. What an amazing statement piece that would be. Leather skirts that we're seeing on the high street are in the form of the knee-length style that I mentioned in my video last week, but also in mini-length form as well. To go really understated, then of course leather is always around in the form of accessories such as bags, belts and boots. So continuing with texture, plush and fuzzy fabrics are very much still around on the high street. So think boucle, shearling, faux fur. I really like the way that shearling fabric is being used in combination with the leather and suede that I've just mentioned. There are loads of lovely aviator style jackets around and bomber jackets that just use a really cozy shearling for the lining, and I love that look. I think it would be super cozy, and I love how the shearling pairs with the leather and suede. Faux fur is very big this season again. Make of this trend what you will. I'm not the biggest faux fur fan, I have to say. That was a mouthful. So faux fur, again, as it has been worn in the past few years, I guess, is around in the form of a cropped jacket, maybe even a little bomber jacket, mainly outerwear and trimmings on outerwear as well. And within this plush fabric section, I've also included velvet because there is a lot of velvet around. Velvet's being worn in the form of blazers, even full suits at times, and also shirts, which I thought was a little bit different. In terms of cottons and, dare I say it, polyesters, for the Victorian style blouses that I mentioned in last week's video, seeing quite a lot of textured cottons and viscoses and even polyesters. So dobby textures and Swiss dot kind of fabrics, which I personally really love. Something in me really loves a dobby texture, and this Atelier Brunette dobby viscose is one of my absolute favourite fabrics. I've mentioned it before. I use it quite a lot for layering pieces like shirts and camis and things, and I think it just adds a little bit to an otherwise plain fabric. Embroidered fabrics are still really big for the autumn winter season. Broderie anglaise is, and sometimes more strikingly embroidered fabrics, and also cottons with a more obviously woven texture are really into. Oh, I feel like that was quite a lot in that texture section, so thank you for sticking with me there. So let's move on to my last section, which is prints and patterns for the autumn winter season. Well, first of all, I don't think you could have avoided the fact that plaids and checks are everywhere for autumn time. I personally love how plaids and checks are being styled for this season, and they pair so nicely with the lovely earthy colours that are around as well. You know I love Suzanne, and I think Suzanne are doing plaids amazingly as always, and I really love this plaid or checked mini skirt. I hope I'm saying plaid right. Someone did pull me up on it in one of my videos and said they'd never heard it pronounced that way. If I'm not pronouncing it right, then please forgive me, but I mean checked tartans. Hopefully you know what I mean. Anyway, Suzanne have this lovely checked mini skirt on their website, which I think looks so classy, worn with a lovely fine knit and tights and boots. If you want to be a little bit more out there with this trend, then you could go fully plaid or fully checkered with a lovely pair of check trousers and a jacket to match. I think pairing a print like this with some of the other colours and textures I've mentioned so far in the video is a really good way to outfit build. And you can really go as bold or as understated as you like with a trend and print like this. Again, if you're not too sure about this print, then maybe add it in the form of a scarf or a bag or something. But if you really love this trend and you want to go all out there, then by all means go for a cord set. There is also some plaid print knitwear that I've seen around on the high street as well, and I think that's a little bit different, and I quite like that too. The next print I wanted to mention was animal print, and of course animal print is always around in some form or other, isn't it? But perhaps for this season there are some different animal prints than you might expect. Cow print is set to be hugely popular this year, so make of that what you will. And giraffe print is the other animal print that we're set to be seeing for autumn winter time. And I think perhaps this one is a little bit more of your traditional kind of leopard print colours that we do normally see around this time, just on maybe a little bit of a bigger scale. So again, go as big and bold or as understated as you like with this animal print trend. I have seen so much cow print around in the shops in the form of suede jackets, fur jackets, trousers and even skirts. But you can also go a little bit more understated in the form of a skinny belt or a bag perhaps, or even these cow print mules. You'll have to let me know what you think of this trend. Personally, I'm on the fence. So let's talk stripes. Stripes are always a big thing, aren't they? Whatever the season, whatever time of year. But for this autumn winter season, we're seeing big, bold stripes, as well as your more subtle sort of Breton stripes. Stripes are being worn in the form of knitwear, as well as stripy woven garments such as shirts and trousers. I really love this stripe print fleece back sweatshirt in fabric that I found from Meat Milk, and I'm really looking forward to sewing this up as a sweater of some kind this year. I think the stripes on this one are just a little bit bigger and a little bit bolder than what I'm used to, and I really love that style for this season. So along with classic style shirts and Breton style tops, we're also seeing stripes worn more in trousers and again cord sets. Think trousers and shirts and sometimes even jackets. If you love a big print, then geometric prints and large scale florals are what you're going to be seeing on the high street for this season. Geometric prints and large scale florals seem to be what's around in the form of dresses and shirts and more kind of going out style garments, I guess. So rather than ditzy florals, as we have been seeing over the past few years, dresses are being worn more with these large scale geometric prints or even large scale florals. I actually quite like this. You know, I'm a ditzy floral kind of person at heart, but I am enjoying seeing these geometric prints come out, and I like how they're being used Also in the form of maybe less traditional style fabrics like broderie anglaise and embroidered garments as well. I think if you're not quite sure about wearing such a large scale print on its own, it can work really nicely layered underneath something. So think, for example, a geometric print shirt layered under a nice knitted pullover, or even a geometric lining to a jacket or something like that. I think florals, large scale or small scale, will always be my favourite though. And I love a big floral shirt dress like this one from Boden. I think it looks super pretty, and I'd love to have a dress like this in my wardrobe for autumn time. And that was really it in terms of pattern and print. You'll have to let me know if you think there's anything else around that I've missed. I think what we're really seeing around on the high street still for this autumn winter season is that garments are very much worn in solid colours, and everything is more about texture and tone rather than print and pattern, which I have to say I quite like. I really do love to play around with texture and tone, and I'm loving seeing all of these tonal outfits around on the high street as well. So brown tones, cream tones and green tones as well. So I think that brings me to the end of this week's video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of these trends, and let me know if you'll be bringing any of them into your autumn winter sewing this season. Don't forget, this is only the second in my Get Set for Autumn Sewing series. There will be 2 more videos coming out during September, so make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already so that you don't miss out on those. You can also follow me over on Instagram if you want to at Made by Sally Gauntlet, and I'm also over on Patreon as well, where I share more behind the scenes videos and sewing tips and tricks. Thank you so much for watching today, everyone. Take care, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.